It's over. And I need to come clean. Look, for the last 5 years, this channel has been about one thing and one thing only. It has been about helping you see that there are other ways, helping you find courage to discover your skills and to develop new ones, to find remote jobs and understand that you can be the one who decides about your financial freedom. You can live life on your terms. And it has been an absolutely incredible journey. And I'm so incredibly grateful for every single one of you who decided to join me on this path. Today, I need to tell you why this chapter is actually ending. And don't get me wrong, it's not because I don't believe in my mission anymore. Helping people break free and find success and happiness, that is my number one priority, my number one passion, and my mission in life. But recently, I realized something that has changed everything. And funnily enough, it started this one evening when my 9, almost 10-year-old asked me to stay with him until he falls asleep. So there I was, sitting on the floor of his bedroom in the darkness, scrolling LinkedIn, as you do, because it was the only thing that I could do without waking him up. And that's when I saw it. A post by a so-called LinkedIn creator. It was one of those, I'm sure you've seen similar ones if you've been on LinkedIn recently, those Twitter-style carousels, repackaging advice that sounded very polished but added no real value. And as I was looking at it, I was thinking to myself, I don't get why people pollute everyone's feed with this garbage. So I started scrolling to the comments to see what others were saying. And to my utter shock, some people that I knew and I respect had positively interacted with that post. Not only that, but actually some had even commented, encouraging the person, the creator, to keep posting. And then it took me a few good seconds to shake that off. And then I thought, why are people eating this up? Because to me, it felt hollow. It felt like something was missing. And at first, I was quite annoyed, I have to admit it. But then I realized I was being judgmental because this person was probably doing their best. They probably did everything they could with the resources they had available. And yet something about that post kept bothering me and I couldn't put my finger on it. But after thinking and thinking about it, that's when it hit me. What the post was missing wasn't polish or style, because it had both. It was story. It was trust. It was the connection. Because I kept thinking, had this person ever done the things that they're trying to teach? Or are they just regurgitating ideas? Was he somebody that I could trust because he had actually done those things? He had tried them out. He had discovered some learning, some unique elements about how to do it that I could learn from, that I could borrow, I could model. Or was he just another guru? And that question made me very uncomfortable because as much as I hate to admit it, I've been guilty of the same thing. Look, I have shared a lot of tips, a lot of strategies over these past 5 years, but rarely have I shared my own story. And that's not because I didn't want to, but probably because I was scared. Because I thought, who cares about my experiences? People just want practical advice. They just know how to do something. But now I see that that's exactly what people want. Our stories, our real lessons, our journeys. That's what I was missing in that person's post. I couldn't make the connection and I didn't feel like I could trust him. I mean, think about it. We both, you and me, we live in a world where everybody has some advice to share, right? But your story is what makes people listen to you, what makes people trust you, and ultimately choose you, right? It's what transforms an idea or a skill into something actually valuable. And I think that's the best way to sell. It's the best way to get paid for being you. So that's why in this video, I'm going to show you how. I will share 3 ways that I have personally used to turn my story into income, and 1 big plan that I have for 2025 that is pushing my dream beyond any expectations that I've ever thought of and being able to dream even bigger. So stick with me because this could be the moment that changes everything for you as well. But actually, in fact, I want you to take a moment and imagine something for me. I want you to imagine that you wake up in the morning with no alarm. There's no snoozing. You wake up because you just want to wake up and you do what you want when you want to. And you actually get paid for that. I mean, let's say that you love traveling. You can do that and make money. Do you love to read? That's also something that you can get paid for. Or maybe, I don't know, you love to garden. I know I do. Well, that can also get you paid. Literally, you can get paid to be you if you understand this super important element that I also discovered was missing for me. So this is where everything changes, both for me and for you. Because from now on, this channel is about being real. Every piece of advice that I will share will come from my own personal experience. What I've done, what worked, what didn't work, where I failed, what I learned, and what I would do differently. And it starts with the realization that I had that night. Because that moment, the LinkedIn post, the self-reflection, it got me thinking about something bigger. It got me thinking about stories. Why do we connect with them so deeply? Why are they the most powerful way to teach, to inspire, to lead? And honestly, I think it's really obvious because since the beginning of time, humans have shared knowledge through stories, right? That's how they would teach each other. Long before schools or books, obviously internet was even a thing, people sat around fires passing down wisdom and experiences to the next generation. And sure, they're entertaining, but stories are much more than a way to entertain people. They were how people learned what they do, what they shouldn't do, what to avoid, and how to survive. That moment and that post helped me understand that stories are a fundamental part of how humans communicate, of how humans connect, and especially how humans learn. And realizing that I had never shared my own stories led me to make this big decision to change everything. Because I realized that stories have been the backbone of human interaction for tens of thousands of years, or however long we've been on this planet. And before we had any other means to share and pass down knowledge from generation to generation, that's how we've always done it, right? So I started looking into it and thinking, what makes them so powerful? And actually, it turns out that there's a ton of research on this topic. And it turns out that when we hear a story, our brain lights up like a Christmas tree in absolutely incredible ways. And there's research published in the journal that's called Neuron that shows stories being able to activate not only the language processing centers of the brain, so what we hear, the words, but also areas linked to sensory, to motor, to emotional experiences. So picture this. Imagine that somebody tells you a story about eating this delicious, ooey gooey chocolate chip cookie. Your brain's sensory cortex reacts just as if you've tasted it yourself, which I think is incredible. Okay? And I know there's research by a neuroscientist called Uri Hansen from Princeton University who found something even more fascinating in my opinion. He found that when a storyteller shares a story, the listener's brain begins to synchronize with the storytellers. It's a phenomenon that they call neural coupling, and it creates this powerful bond where the listener experiences the story almost as if it were their own. And I mean, there is literally no better way to teach, because people essentially trick their brains through the storytelling to think that they had the same experience, okay? So you can see stories are not just about the engagement or the entertainment. They're about building the connection, building the trust. And there's also this other neuroscientist, I think his name is Paul Zak, and he wrote this paper called The Moral Molecule, where he says that stories that evoke emotion increase the release of oxytocin, which is often called the trust hormone, because oxytocin makes us more empathetic and connected, which is why we're more likely to trust someone after hearing their authentic story. And by the way, if you see movement or you hear any noise, that's my dog going back and forth. So actually, Zak's research has shown that people are 60% more likely to remember information that is delivered in a story compared to a list of facts. This is why powerful speeches from Martin Luther King to any speech done by Steve Jobs relies heavily on storytelling to inspire action. So clearly, that got me thinking a lot because I realized that I was missing this massive opportunity because it didn't even stop there. Stories are clearly memorable. They're helping us connect. They're building trust, but they're also motivational. There was this piece from Harvard Business Review that found that stories about overcoming challenges are one of the most effective tools for inspiring people to take action. They help the listener imagine themselves succeeding, which makes them much more likely to try. And this is exactly what I've been trying to achieve with this channel. I've been trying to get you guys to find the courage to take action and try things out. And there was missing the most important tool of all. So don't make the same mistake as I have. Whether we're talking about ancient fables or stories that were passed down orally, or whether we're talking about YouTube videos of today, the medium has changed, but the impact of storytelling remains the same. It moves people. It educates, it inspires, it connects, it leads in ways that no other form of communication can. And here is where it becomes personal, because you and I both live in a world today that is so overwhelmed, as I said, with information. Everybody has advice to share, everybody has ideas to sell, and your story is your competitive advantage. And as you've seen, science proves it. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it and the story behind it that builds trust, that creates connection, that makes people take action and listen. That is so incredibly powerful. And so many people like myself are missing this critical aspect. And I think that if you understand the power of your own story, you will see how much easier it is to completely change the way you look at making money or earning a living in any way you choose to do that. I mean, think about brands that you admire or the leaders that you trust. It is never just about the product or the data. They always share a story that resonates with your values, with your emotions, and with your experiences, right? And sure, it's about inspiration, but stories are a tool, one of the most powerful ones, dare I say, for standing out and for making money, as I said. I mean, let's think for a moment about just a few successful brands. I don't know, Nike, for example. They clearly don't just sell shoes, they tell stories of perseverance and of greatness. Spanx, I love Sarah Blakely, but it's not just selling shapewear. She tells the story of her journey cutting the feet off the pantyhose and starting from scratch. And I mean, she tells a lot of stories, but this one is, I think, the most known. Or Apple, I mean, clearly it's not about the gadgets, it's about the vision of being different and thinking differently. And you can do the same. You can take this learning and apply it to your chosen way of earning money, whether that's through a remote job, you want an online job, you want to start a business or a side hustle. Your story is more than a memory. It's not only that moment when it happened, it is your superpower. And it's the key to standing out, to being heard, and to creating something truly meaningful. And don't make the mistake that I have. You need to find the courage to share your story because it can transform not only your career, your side hustle, but your entire life forever, and not just yours. Your stories are what makes you who you are. They have the power to change you, as I said, but they also have the power to change someone else's life in the least way that you expect. And I want to give you an example here from my own experience. During my MBA, I went to this company presentation, not because I cared, but because my project partner wanted to go and I didn't want to lose him again because that meant I would have to work on the project again by myself. So as I was sitting there, I heard the speaker talk about his story about working at this tech company. And I remember thinking, that is my dream job. That is exactly what I imagined myself doing. So even though I had no idea about or plan or intention about working for this company, the next day I went in, I applied for the job, I went through all the interviews and all the processes, and not only did I get the job, but I ended up working at that company over 10 years, which is longer than any other company job that I ever had. So you see, one story changed everything for me. It changed the course of my life, and that is the power of storytelling. It moves people, it inspires action, and it builds trust. So if there's one thing that you take away from this video, is this: the most valuable thing that makes you unique, a special snowflake, if you will, different than anyone else in your company, in your field, in your industry, anywhere in this galaxy, that's your story. It's your wins, your failures, your lessons. That is what resonates. That's what makes people listen, and that's what makes you stand out. So now I want to show you how you can turn your story into something even more powerful, into a way to make a living and build freedom by being yourself. All right, so let's make this practical. You might be wondering, okay, I get it. Storytelling is powerful, but how do I monetize it? How do I actually use it? I can think of my story, but how can I get paid to be me? Well, let me break it down for you. And here are the top ways that you can turn your story, your skills, and your experiences and your lessons into income. The first three, as I said, are ways that I have personally used myself. The fourth one is something that I would like to implement this year. I think the most obvious one is creating a course. Okay, everyone has, in my opinion, something they have mastered. Everyone has a skill, a strategy, or I don't know, even a mindset, something that you have discovered a better way to achieve. Okay, I don't know, maybe you're great at organizing and you can teach people how to do that. Maybe you're great at meeting people and creating connections or building relationships, or I don't know, maybe you're very good at like doing your nails. Whatever it is, there are people out there who would pay to learn from you because you have done it, right? You found a way that works and that can help people bypass the time that it takes for them to experiment and fail and learn to reach the same outcome. Okay, so once the course is done, which can be as easy as this, like putting the phone in front of you and talking to it and explaining what to do, then once you're done, you can upload those videos to Skillshare, to Udemy. There's lots of platforms where you can do that, and choose a platform that will bring you traffic as well. Your story and your learnings are your superpower, but if driving traffic is not that, then choose a platform that can bring you the traffic. If you know how to do it, then you can do it on your own platform as well. That's absolutely fine. Now, the second way that you can be you and do what you already enjoy is by being a consultant. You can use your learnings, your skills, and your experience to help teach others how to achieve the same outcome. So you can offer that as a freelancer, as a consultant. You can work on platforms like Fiverr or Upwork, or you can simply go to Facebook groups where people talk about having challenges with something that you do naturally, something that to you comes very, very easy. And it would be the easiest way to find your next client. Now, the third way that I think you can easily get paid to be you is to start a YouTube channel. I think whatever your passion is, whatever you're interested in, whatever you have done and learned and mastered, you can talk about on a YouTube channel. And sure, creating a YouTube channel requires a little bit more effort than creating a, Fiverr account and profile, but it is so worth it. And I believe that anyone should have a YouTube channel nowadays, because whatever you've mastered is going to be worth it for others to learn from you. So think about what makes you you and start a channel and talk about that. I promise you, you will not regret it. Now, the fourth way that you can make a living by being yourself is creating a community. And this is not something that I have built to the extent that I would like to, and that is my plan for 2025. But think of building a community as building a group of friends that are interested in the exact same thing that you're passionate about, okay? And you can do that, with school, you can do it on Circle, you can even get your own Discord server. Again, technology is not the limitation here. The limitation is being able to find the courage, or at least in my case, find the courage to be authentic and to tell your story truthfully and the things that you are interested and passionate in, so that other people who are also interested and passionate in the same thing can congregate with you, can come together, so you can actually end up talking every day, whenever you choose to other people who are interested in the same thing that makes you you. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And having the opportunity to share your wins, your lessons, whatever it is, the little thing that makes you you, is going to bring so much satisfaction, so much joy, and so much feeling of achievement that you have no idea. And look, these are just a few ways that you can start getting paid to be you. And I think the best part is that they all stem from your own story, your unique expertise, your lessons and your skills. And that's what makes you stand out, what makes people want to listen. So now I have a little question or action for you. I want you to think about this. What is your story? What is something that you've been through, something that you learned, something that you mastered that could help others, that others could benefit from? I want you, if you have the courage to share, to put that in the comments below, because I want to see what is your superpower. What are your skills or your lessons, the things that make you you. I want to get to know you, and I would love to be able to give you suggestions on how you can get paid to do that. Alright, you guys, that was it for today. It was a different kind of video. I truly hope that this resonates. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear more of my personal stories. And if you do, we'll make sure to share as many as possible. As I said, my promise to you is that all the videos moving forward will have one of my stories at the center, or something that I learned, something that I came across, hoping that it'll help you as well. All right? Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me through this journey, and thank you for giving me your time and attention, because I do understand that you have a million other things that you could be doing at this moment, and you chose to give me your time and attention. So thank you. I'm very grateful for that. If you found this video helpful, do give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, share it with anyone you think could benefit from it, and yeah, I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.